Good evening, everyone, and thank you for joining us for our next live video as part of Boys Town History Week. My name is Gabby, joined here with several special guests from some of our Boys Town affiliate sites, and we are going to highlight them tonight as well as their history and their programs. So, in case you missed it, last night we did go live with all three of our Boys Town, Florida locations, and then tonight after this live, we have another one with our other affiliate sites. So you can catch them all right here on this live video. So we have several discussion questions that we're going to go through today. And before we do that, I want to remind everyone to like this video. And if you want to leave a comment during the live stream at all, you can do that and we can do some Q&A at the end if we have time. Okay, so let's start here with some introductions. John, I see you up in the middle. If you want to introduce yourself first from Boys Town, Nevada.
Thanks, Gabby. John Etzel, Executive Director of our Boys Town, Nevada site. Go Las Vegas.
Welcome. We also have Rahina here representing Boys Town South Omaha. Rahina, how are you tonight?
I'm good. Thank you for having us.
Of course. Could you please tell us more about your role at Boys Town?
Yes, I serve as the Director of Community Support Services both in South and North Omaha.
Awesome. And we also have Ellie here from Boys Town, New England. Ellie, how are you?
I'm doing great tonight. Thank you for having us.
Awesome. What is your role at Boys Town?
Well, I'm one of two senior directors of program operations here at Boys Town, New England. I oversee our community-based programs, and then Marcy Sheelan oversees our out-of-home programs.
Awesome. Great to have you on. And then lastly, we have right next to me down here, we have Megan. So Megan, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing well. Thank you for having us and facilitating this conversation. And I'm the Senior Director of Program Operations for Boys Town out in central Nebraska. So kind of Columbus to Grand Island to Kearney to North Platte.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for hopping on, especially tonight to celebrate Boys Town History Week. So like I said, we have several discussion questions we're going to go through. If you have any questions for any of our guests, go ahead and leave them in the comment section. Okay, so first, John, let's spotlight Nevada first. So could you give us a brief overview of the history of Boys Town, Nevada and your programs in Las Vegas?
Certainly. So Boys Town, Nevada has been a location since 1991, so just over 30 years, and it was started by a group of businessmen here in town who recognized the need for an organization like Boys Town to come in and provide services. So actually what these guys had done is they had raised a little bit of money, made an introduction to the executive director at the time, which was Father Val Peter, came out to the Omaha location to meet with him, and then Father Peter gave him a list of things that they had to do in order to get a site started. So a year later, they came back, they had raised some money, they had gotten some agreements from juvenile justice and child welfare and other interested entities who would be providing kids and families for us to do services with. And so that's how this site got started just over 30 years ago. As of today, we're a community-based site where we've got programs ranging from our Parenting for Success classes in English and Spanish to education-based programs, which we'll talk about here in just a little bit, as well as our wraparound services. And we've got a behavioral health clinic with 4 full-time child psychologists.
Awesome. Ellie, same with Boys Town, New England. Would you please describe your site, its history, and some of its programs?
Yeah, so today I had to phone a friend to get some information on our history. So Boys Town, New England started back in 1991. In the 1980s, a couple by the name of B and Samuel Bazarski donated land in Portsmouth, Rhode Island to the executive director at the time, which was Father Peter. And then we officially opened in 1991 with the first program being foster care, where we serve foster kids in Rhode Island and Massachusetts, still till this day, and where we recruit and train foster parents, match them with the foster child in need. And then during placement, we support the foster parent proactively and also reactively to meet the needs of the youth. And then in 2002, the plan started to open up a family home program campus out here. And fun fact, the campus opened in July 2005. with the first teachers being actually John Etzel, who's on this live right now, and his wife as the first family teachers. And then from there, we grew. And in 2014, we opened up our Providence office. And that was because we wanted to prioritize and put a highlight on our community-based programs. So like in the Nevada site and many of the other sites, we have our in-home family services, our care coordination services, our Common Sense Parenting program. And then we have some contracted positions with the Department of Children, Youth, and Families. And then in 2016, which we're highlighting today, we started what we call the Live Together program. And I'll let John kind of talk through what that looks like. But I did want to highlight that we are in 2 out of the 4 poverty-stricken cities in Rhode Island. So we really serve a high-need community. We're currently in 6 schools, but we have are in current talks of joining all 16 schools in Pawtucket by the end of this school year. We served 1,068 youth up to October this year. And in addition, have impacted over 1,500 youth as well. So we're really excited with the services and programs that we've been able to grow into in New England.
Yeah, that's amazing. And, even we sometimes throw out these numbers here at Boys Town, but if you really think of how many kids that's being impacted, that's awesome. So thanks for sharing. Okay, so most people do know about our home campus off of Dodge Street in Omaha, Nebraska, but we do also have programs in other areas of the state. So, Rahina, could you please tell us about Boys Town Omaha and the special work that is done in there?
Yes. So a couple of years ago, one of the strategic plans was for us to see what we were doing in Omaha. Like, how can we prevent kiddos to come to our famous campus off of Dodge? And one of the things that we noticed is we were doing a lot of Common Sense Parenting classes throughout the city. So one of the things that we did is we looked into, did some studies to see where the high risk communities were. And in 2014, we opened an office in South Omaha, and we opened another office in North Omaha. Since then, we also have developed ourselves into the LIFT strategy. We listen to the community, we partner with a lot of organizations, and we really organically started to partner with the schools. Before we were there, a lot of the parents would ask for help in the school and in the community, and they would say, well, you have to call the police, you have to get all reported. And we noticed that there was no services being provided for families that were not in the legal system. So one of the things that we decided to do was to start working with families before they are entering in the system. And we got most of our referrals from school. We are across the street from the biggest school in Nebraska. So that really became a strong partnership, and parents would be sent to our office across the street, or we would go to the school and talk to parents so they would feel, safe and that they knew that we really wanted to help them. So that's how we started our services and how we kind of develop ourselves into the LIFT program through supporting families in South and North Omaha.
Wonderful. Thank you for that. And then Megan, what about Central Nebraska? Tell us more about our programs there.
Yeah, so Boys Town's been offering services in Central Nebraska actually since 1989. So I think that means I win on this call, right? I'm the first. We started some services in the Grand Island area, very similar stories to with some land that was donated. Father Peter was heavily involved with bringing Boys Town out to Central Nebraska. And our programs now serve directly between 700 and 800 kids a year. We have some really small but mighty programs in this area. We have offices in Duncan, which is just outside of Columbus, a really small community. We have an office in Grand Island, in Kearney, and in North Platte. And within those offices, we offer some virtual Common Sense parenting classes in some various communities. Duncan is actually our day school. So that's a behaviorally based level 3 special education program that serves students kindergarten through 12th grade. The school has a capacity of around 40 students, and we actually serve over 30 school districts in rural Nebraska. Um, then we have our behavioral health clinic located in Grand Island, offers outpatient therapy and psychological assessment for kids and families by doctoral level providers. I believe we have 6 providers out there right now. And then we have our in-home family services. It's offered out of all 4 of our locations, with staff being kind of nomadic and serving families directly in their homes within an hour radius of those communities I talked about. They actually serve over 40 counties in Nebraska, so almost half of the counties, which is pretty cool. Um, and really, those staff work with families who are struggling with behaviors, might be at risk of having their child removed from the home, and they work with that family on building some skills, resources, and supports. And then we have our foster family services, similar to what Ellie described, where we train, recruit, support foster parents, kind of in that Grand Island Kearney hour radius area. And then we have our school services that I know we're going to talk more about.
Yes. So, of all of our sites and all of those programs we just mentioned, I know it's a lot for a short amount of time here on this live video. So I will make sure to link everything that we have just mentioned in the comments, so you can go to our website and learn more about each location and the services that they provide. So why did we get you all together on one live stream? Some viewers may be wondering, you're all spread out all the way across the country. So what do we have in common? Well, that's because we have a fantastic program that was mentioned called Lift Together with Boys Town. So I'm going to have John Etzel take it from here and tell you all more about the program.
Thanks, Gabby. Yeah, Lift Together is a very exciting program for Boys Town, for all of our sites, and for the organization in whole. It's our fastest growing program, and what it is it allows Boys Town to partner with school districts, with individual schools, service providers, community organizations, teachers, administrators, parents, and families in order to strengthen the family, to strengthen the school that we're working with, and to hopefully, what we want to be able to see with it is strengthen an entire community. So Boys Town as a provider not only works in the school district with teachers and administrators to improve overall classroom behavior through well-managed schools intervention training and administrative intervention training, and that the primary role in that is to give the control back to the teachers in their classrooms. We want them to be the kings and queens of their classrooms, and they feel confident that they can handle and manage behaviors that come up in their classroom through positive relationship building, a lot of positive praise, and a lot of redirection and teaching of social skills when kids need that. We partner that with the administrative intervention piece, which then works to decrease the amount of exclusionary practices that are happening in schools. So we don't want to see kids who are being suspended out of school, because when kids are out of school, what are they doing? Are they learning? No, they're not. They're going to the mall, they're hanging out with their friends, they're on their phones, they're not doing things that they should be doing to improve their academic options and opportunities. So the administrative intervention piece works with that. Then we've got our school support specialists, and everybody here has got this new position, very much like a behavior interventionist in schools, that works directly in a school to support the social skills promotion and teaching that we do in the classrooms, that the teachers do, as well as dealing with low to moderate level behaviors that come up. So instead of a student being sent to the principal's office or the dean's office to work through something, they get a chance to go ahead and meet with the Boys Town school support specialist, identify what social skill that they maybe could have done a little bit better, get a couple of practices in, a few role plays. We all know at Boys Town we love to do our role plays. It's no different in this situation. Yeah. Make an apology if they need to, but get back into class as quickly as possible. We know that for kids, the more time that they're out of class, the less learning that they're doing. So we want to reduce that time when frankly their butts aren't in the seats. We want to increase that time. So there's a big focus for our school support specialists and the amazing work they do to help get those kids back in class. We follow that up with, and this is where it really differentiates Boys Town with other service providers. Not only are we working the school, but then we're also working with the parents and the families at home. So part of the school support specialist role is to also make phone calls home and start to build and develop relationships with the parents. And contrary to popular belief, we're not always making those phone calls home saying, hey, this person, little Johnny or little Sally got in trouble today. We're making phone calls home saying, hey, this really great thing happened in school today. This is awesome. We love it. We want to see more of this. And sometimes there are families that might need a little bit more help and a little bit more support. So that's where our traditional wraparound services come into play as well, where we've got our in-home family services and our care coordination team that can work with them. We also offer our Parenting for Success classes as well, which I believe all of our sites are offered both in person and virtually, English and Spanish as well. So it truly is a wraparound, whole family intervention and support system that helps the school, the family, and the greater community as well. Because all the wraparound support services that we do, we are very well connected in every community to housing or jobs or mental health care or doctors, whatever families need. We've got those resources at our fingertips. So LIFT is truly a intervention that works all angles of that. And as I said, it's our fastest growing program within our organization. In 2021, served well over 50,000 kids and families, and in 2022 is on pace for probably double that number. So it is amazing, and all the women on this call, have got a tremendous responsibility and have done a great job of implementing this program in their respective communities.
Yes. Thank you for such a good explanation of such a unique program truly to Boys Town. So that kind of leads right into my next question here is how, if we could all go around and answer, how since implementing LIFT together has it helped your communities? Megan, do you want to start? I guess we could just go counterclockwise.
Yeah. Sure. So Central Nebraska is actually about 2 months into our LIFT implementation in our first community. The first school we're working in just had their first round of well-managed schools training about 2 weeks ago. And then we're in some very preliminary stages of implementation in other communities. So we're still LIFT babies compared to my colleagues on this call, but I had the privilege of visiting John's programs in Las Vegas a few weeks ago, where I was able to see for myself just the great things happening in schools across that city. It made me really excited to bring it back to my communities and give kids and families and schools some of that extra support to help them be successful. I think everyone on this call and all of our programs, we've seen kids struggling over the last couple of years, especially like just never before. So LIFT is all the more exciting to me. It's a way to reach kids and families in a new way and get them some support more proactively before their struggles become really big and overwhelming. So in our very first school, we've seen some individual kids just getting more of that proactive support, being able to stay in the classroom longer, getting the skills they need, the behavioral skills, so that they can learn and be in the classroom and be more successful in school and later on in life. So I'm really looking forward to seeing, our numbers and the data to show the bigger picture of the impact that we're having.
Awesome. Rahina, how about you?
So we have a lot of success stories from teachers feeling more supported, administration feeling more supported, families being able to have, be able to navigate the system, because sometimes it's not that they don't want to, they just don't know how to. So they have more access to services, and they just helps them be more successful. We've seen a lot of kids that from the beginning to the end, they had a lot of behaviors. They had really bad relationships with adults in the school or at home. And just working with some of our amazing staff, I would like to add, because our staff is also from the community, and that helps a lot. they've been able to really focus on the strengths of the family and really provide some good techniques for everybody. From the simplest thing, if we can help a parent to stay calm when there's a crisis, from a kid to learning how to take self-control, making an apology, talking to people. I think it's really also provided a very different perspective in Omaha about what Boys Town is.
Yeah.
Because if you're from Omaha, everybody hears, I'm going to send you to Boys Town if you're bad. But then us being in the school communities has really started to change that. Oh, no, they're here to help you. Just being part of the community has really helped that.
I love that, Regina, because that's exactly what it is. It is an early intervention and prevention-based program where we want to, work with the kids and families before it gets to a point where we're looking at a Department of Family Services or juvenile justice type of involvement. And we've certainly seen the impact of that here in Las Vegas. Lots of similar success stories of, the district is struggling to get kids, to come back to school, and they'll make phone call after phone call. And then they'll say, hey, Boys Town, why don't you try giving these 10 families a call and getting them back into school? And because we take a very relationship building approach with the families, let's find out what else is going on in that family that might be preventing those kids or the mom or the dad or the aunts and uncles or grandparents from getting the kids back in school, and remove those barriers. So we've had a couple where a few phone calls and a couple of community supports later, we've got kids back in school in less than a week, and the district is just, in shock. Oh my gosh, how did you make that happen? Well, we did it because, we're invested in building relationships with kids and families. And we've seen that success continue to grow here at our site. We started with, 3 or 4 schools, 6 or 7 years ago. This year we're in 65 schools, and next year we expect to be in right around 90 schools total here in the Clark County School District. So the influence continues to grow, and the impact, the most important part is what makes the biggest difference. And without the amazing staff that we have, and as Megan had mentioned, Jessica and I've got a tremendous team behind me that does the bulk majority of the work, as you all know, to make this happen. And they've truly built a tremendous program from the ground up here in the last couple of years.
So for New England, I would have to say I agree 100% with all 3 sites. We're seeing the same exact thing, which is why we know this program is so successful, is because we start with that relationship building approach. Back in 2016, when we started this collaboration with the Pawtucket School District and Central Falls School District, it was really hard to get into the school. So they were like, we will let you go into 2 schools,
Yeah.
And with that said, the success that they saw within those two small schools, so they got us in. We were able to do exactly what everybody else has said. We come in and we just provide a different approach. Unfortunately, what we see in our community is this us versus them mentality, both on the parent side and both on the school side. And there wasn't a lot of collaboration that we were seeing between school and home for the support of the students. And us coming in gave them a new lens, a new way of looking and dealing and supporting these families that were really struggling. Again, we are in 2 of the 4, most poverty-stricken neighborhoods. So with that comes a lot of different barriers, comes a lot of different, problems that affects the student having either good grades, attendance within the school building, behavioral issues. But what Boys Town has done with this collaboration with the school district is we've been able to provide some strategies, some resources, some skills that teachers can use, that students learn, and our parents are also learning in the home. So that there's this common language coming all together, and that's where we're seeing these great successes. It's not a one-way street, is, all of us together lifting up a community. And at the end of the day, that's what the program is. So that's what the successes that we've been seeing. And I'm glad to hear that we're seeing it in all locations, showing that, this works.
Yes, definitely. So thank you all so much for sharing. With my last question here, it is Boys Town History Week, so I've got to tie this back in. What mark on history do you all hope Lift Together with Boys Town makes on the futures of all the kids in the schools, the families, and the communities?
Well, I think that's a great question during History Week, and I think back to the origins of Boys Town to Father Flanagan and how revolutionary he was in his approach to working with boys at the time. Obviously, we've worked with girls for over 40 years now, as well. But I think Lift combines the knowledge and the history and the research that Boys Town has done over the years. Puts it all together in truly a program that is working to prevent kids from coming into the system at some of the earliest points possible. We know that teachers and that schools see a lot of things that sometimes parents or other community members don't within kids and within families. And when we've got the opportunity to start working with kids on increasing their social skills and improving parent communication with the school, that's what keeps kids in school. That's what helps kids from an economic mobility perspective stay in school, get better paying jobs in the long run. And so I think this is a tremendous opportunity for the organization to do something, a bit revolutionary and different. And we're going to see in the next 6 months, we're going to have another program called the Digital Well-Managed Schools that will come out as well, and will continue to be the next iteration of this amazing program.
Yes. Awesome. Well, I wish, the greatest of successes ahead for this program and for all the other programs that we have talked about tonight. Like I mentioned, I will leave all the links for our viewers to click on and learn more about each of your sites and their programs. So thank you so much for taking the time, everyone, to join us for our second part of Night with the Sites. Make sure you tune in later tonight here at 6:30 Central Time. We are going live with our last 3 sites. So we've got Boys Town, Iowa, Boys Town, Louisiana, and Boys Town, Washington, D.C. So tune in for that. And thank you all for joining. Have a great night.